Okay, I'm just starting to work with the Nintendo Nunchuk controller here, and this first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to quickly go through and check all there's got a lot of control voltage outs we can use, or I should say access, but I'm going to see how usable they might be. So I'm just going to march through them really quick and check the control voltages. Here's the A output. So it's essentially a close to 5-volt output. And then this is what they call the B output on their thing. It's actually kind of the main Z trigger on some pitches. It's not quite the range and numbers I was expecting, although it's not crazy off either. So, and I like the center return feature. Let's see how repeatable that voltage is. 2.45. So it would be nice having a center note, let me just say middle C or whatever as an example, that no matter what you can let go and it snaps to. I do kind of like that. It's pretty repeatable. And then the Y is the same thing, just up and down. So since it's really the same functionality, that would just come down to personal preference, I guess. So now we're into the motion ones, which are basically accelerometers on the controller here. And I'm reading what they call the X. There's an X, Y, Z, like you would assume. But it's kind of confusing to me which is the X, the Y, or the Z. Right now I have it in the X. I can move it that way, I can move it forward. The control voltages are more continuous, I noticed this way, than they were with the joystick. The joystick wasn't real continuous, but we'll have to see what we can do with that. Now I'm plugged into this mix out, which basically combines your XY coordinates, sums them in a certain way. And this is actually looking the most promising for pitch control, because you of course have the same center return thing going on. What's nice is you can either go X or Y. If you go to the bottom, it's down a volt. If you go up, it's up a volt. And the same with the Y. The numbers don't match exactly, just because this is like a pretty cheap controller thing, but that doesn't really matter. Still, though, the pattern's what I'm talking about. You're going, so you could either use that, and then what's cool is when you go off axis, so you're combining, let's say, the X and Y up here in this quadrant, you'll see it jumps up to like 4, so that's where you can get a higher voltage because you're combining them. And the other thing is it's more continuous than it's seen before. So we're going to give that a try. That part's looking hopeful. Okay, so this is kind of cool. So this is still the Nintendo controller here. And I'm just kind of running it through these two things so I can get it to a quantizer and a CV to MIDI converter like I normally would. And it's actually working pretty good. I just got it working. Keep in mind this is with no practice. So still, I'm actually pretty happy with that. This one's going to be a good pitch control one. Okay, so still working initially here with this Nunchuk controller. And again, my normal disclaimer that this is with no practice and I just got done cobbling this thing together. But in any event, so we still have this working. Now we're playing the an Analog Synth here with it. This happens to be the voice-controlled Analog Synth. I'm just kind of hopping in here with the Nintendo controller. But anyway, the one difference from before is because it's an analog synth and not MIDI, you can play legato, which is kind of a cool thing sometimes. Okay, that's not very musical. So that would definitely take some practice. You can do it, but the real thing that I changed, I wanted to show you, is because we can read the motion here with an accelerometer using this controller, I've routed that over to the filter. So now granted it takes some mobility here because you have to be able to move your hand here, but in any event you can now do stuff like this. So you can do these little filter sweeps by doing that with your hand. So, just another little thing.